Give me a pencil, some paper, some markers and erasers. I guess it doesn't really matter cause it's just another bad art. Bad art.
Yells and wells, bells and jails. Welcome to a brand new, but not so improved episode of Bad Art, a cult of videos where I orchestrate mayhem and spit destruction. I am your host / artista. You can call me Chewels. That's for all the newbies out there. For all the vets, you already know what it's about. I have returned. I have made my triumphant return finally. To Bad Art, that is. But that's not the only thing I've returned to. I've returned to playing Street Fighter. Street Fighter 5 to be exact. The date today is... What's the date today? May 3rd. The date is May 3rd. Street Fighter 5 has been out for weeks. I've been playing it for weeks. And yeah. Now my memory's a little foggy, but I'm pretty sure I recall doing one of these videos where I said I didn't care about Street Fighter 5. I had no interest in playing it whatsoever. And I guarantee you, I promise you, when I said that at the time, it was true. But, you know, opinions change sometimes, and this is one of those times. Because I was not interested in that game at all. I was going to pass it up, you know, and then one day, Steve hit me up. You know Steve. He was like, hey, man, you know, because they had the thing where they were doing the beta before the game came out for the online servers to test them out. And you had to reserve the game to get the beta code and stuff. And when it went live, you could play in the beta. Side note, companies should stop doing that because basically people are just going to reserve the game, play the beta, and go and return the reservation that they have for the game and get their money back, you know. So maybe you should stop doing that and just make the beta open to everybody and get the full test that way. But that's just my, you know, little 2 cents I want to add in there. But anyway, Steve reserved the game. The beta went live, or was going live, so he hit me up and he was like, yo, dog, the beta for Street Fighter 5 is going live this weekend. You should swing by and play it. Everybody else is coming over to check it out, and you should too. So I was just like, yeah, whatever, sure, I'll go over there. At the very least, at least I can like hang out with everybody because I haven't seen them in a while and stuff, you know, because life is a bitch. So anyway, weekend came. I went over to the house, started playing the beta. After the first match, I was like Brian O'Connor in the Fast and the Furious after his first race. It's like everything just came rushing back to me. Like my adrenaline was pumping. And I was just like, damn it. I got to get this game when it comes out now. You know, it was just something about like being in that zone again where your character is face to face with another character on the screen. And you're trying to figure out what the person's going to do. And you're trying to figure out how you can punish that when they do it, you know. So anyway, that happened. And I ended up changing my mind. I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to get this game now. So, you know, I didn't reserve it or anything like that. Like playing that beta that night was enough for me to just sell me on getting the game. I mean, it felt like Street Fighter normally does for me, but I'm not a fighting game enthusiast, so don't take that to heart when I say that. But it felt like I was playing Super Street Fighter 4 again, you know. And so like I was already sold on it. Didn't play the beta anymore. I even went to PSX back in 2015, and they had a booth set up and stuff. And I was going to play it because I wanted to play as a lower character, but I didn't feel like sitting in line for it. And I was just like, I'll just wait till it comes out. Because if I play it anymore, I'm probably going to play it enough to where I don't want to play the game again. Or I don't want to go and buy the game and play it again. You know what I mean? So I waited till the game came out. The game is out. Been playing it. It's great, but I am a little disappointed in how half-assed the game is. The person who put it the best way possible was Mitch Dyer over at IGN, where he was just like, Street Fighter 5, as of right now, is a $60 early access game. And I was just like, after hearing him say that, I was like, wow, that's actually very, very accurate, you know? Because like when I started playing the game, the first thing I wanted to do was go into the challenge mode because that's kind of like, at least for me, that's how I kind of figure out what moves I can link together or what kind of little combo strings I can try and do for whatever fighter I pick, right? So like I go to challenges and it's like, no, that's not out yet. That comes out later, you know. And then I played online for a little bit, got a little bit of fight money. I was like, oh, I got some fight money. Like, let me see if I can go in the store and see what I can spend. You know, you go into the store and it's like, no, that's not out yet. That comes out later. And I was like, wow, you know. And then I played through the story mode for one character, and I swear you can do it in like maybe 5, 10 minutes. That's like watching the little cutscenes too, you know, the little dialogue scenes. Like it was quick. So the game does really feel half-assed, and at first I was really upset about that. I almost didn't buy the game, like kind of because one of the things that I heard was that they were gonna put the story mode in like later in June, and I almost didn't buy the game for that because I am one of those people who do care about story in games, even though I don't know what the hell the story is in Street Fighter. You know, it's just some, you know, it's like any other fighting game where there's a tournament and people are just fighting each other and blah, blah, blah. But still, I would like to get some aspect of the story and try and practice and see what other fighters are capable of without me having to pick them and go into the training room and figure out stuff there, you know. It's a little quicker for me to just go through an arcade mode or a story mode and do it that way. But, you know, I understand why Capcom's doing it. I've heard rumors a while back that they're like really strapped for cash. Like, I think this was like maybe a year or two ago when I heard that like there was a rumor that they had like $100 million liquid, you know. $100 million nowadays is enough to make a game, you know. And like I said, it's a rumor that I heard, but I'm starting to think that rumor is true, seeing as how Capcom is like just constantly re-releasing old games like Resident Evil, where they've come out and said, hey, like we're gonna re-release Resident Evil, like do HD remakes and stuff for them and put them back out, you know. And then this whole thing now with Street Fighter, where it's like, here's the online mode and here's a couple modes here and everything else is coming later in the year. It's like, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand why they're doing it. And anyone who's bent out of shape about it, think of it as like what Telltale does with their games, where it's like they put them out chapter by chapter. Just think of it that way, you know. So, but either way, I'm playing a game. I'm playing online. I'm happy with it. It's fun. Still running the a-holes, you know, who just do the cheapest shit possible online. But I mean, what are you gonna do? I actually go into the training room now to try and figure out stuff. And but yeah, it's fun. I like it. What else can I say about it? Oh, it would. I heard another rumor that because when I went to go get the game, the guy who got out the case for me was like, "Oh man, you know Street Fighter's out, a new Street Fighter," and I was like, "Yeah, man, it just came out a couple days ago." He's like, "Oh man, I gotta get this. Is it out for Xbox?" And I was like, "Oh no, it is not. It is not out for Xbox. It's only for PC and PS4." He's like, "Oh man, that's messed up, dog. You know, I wanted to get this so bad. I love Street Fighter." And I tried to help him out too. I was like, well, you know, there's other games on Xbox that are fighting games. You know, you can play those. He's like, no, I don't want to play those. I want to play Street Fighter. And I was like, yeah. And that sucks, dude. That really sucks. Like, I'm really hating how like these game companies or these consoles are taking like games that used to be multi-platform and just making them exclusive to one or two and excluding out the other one. You know, I'm really getting sick of that. And you know, but I did hear a rumor that when Street Fighter V was being developed, that Xbox actually turned down Street Fighter V because they were like, we don't want your game on our system because we have a dedicated fighting game on our system already, you know. And they were talking about Killer Instinct. Now, let me remind you, this is a rumor that I heard. I don't know if it's true. I don't want to believe it's true. I don't even want to look it up online to like check and see because I'm afraid that if it is true, I'm just going to be so disgusted with them. Just for the simple fact that I know for a fact there are other fighting games on the Xbox One, like prominent ones too, like Blaze Blue, Mortal Kombat, just name a few right there. But I really don't want to believe that someone over at Microsoft made that decision to turn down Street Fighter 5, If it is true, whoever made that decision, you need to hang up your badge and give up your parking spot and vacate the building right now because you disgust me, okay? You disgust me to the worst, just ugh. But anyway, like I said, that's just a rumor. I hope it's not true. So anyway, let's just get to the art because, a little rusty here. So the art. I drew Juri from Super Street Fighter 4 and Delson Rowe from Infamous Second Son. Let's just go ahead and start with Juri. Without Juri, I would not give two shits about Street Fighter, okay? Something you need to know about your boy is when Super Street Fighter 4 came out, I went hard into that game, okay? Like, I went and got that game and I played the shit out of it. Now, before Super Street Fighter 4, the last Street Fighter game I had ever played was Street Fighter, I think it was like Street Fighter EX Alpha or something. It was when they were like in 3D, where like it wasn't even like 2D sprites, it was like 3D polygonal, however you want to say it, figures that you fought with, right? Like Skullmania was in there. That was the last Street Fighter I played before Super Street Fighter 4. Before Street Fighter EX, the last Street Fighter I played before that was Super Street Fighter Turbo on the Super Nintendo. And before that, it was Street Fighter 2 on the Sega Genesis. So, needless to say, I'm not the biggest I wasn't the biggest Street Fighter fan back in the day. Back in those days, I was playing like Mortal Kombat and Soul Calibur and Rival Schools and Bloody Roar and, Killer Instinct Gold and stuff, okay? Like, I missed out on Alpha, all that stuff. So, like, characters like Armika are new to me. Like, Armika and Birdie and stuff, they're new to me. Whereas everybody's like, no, they're from past games. And I was like, well, I did not know that. But anyway, so I had no interest in Street Fighter 4 when it came out. But then they announced Super Street Fighter 4 and they showed Juri. And I just loved the way her character design was. And then when they showed gameplay of her, I like fell in love with her. And I was like, that's a character I want to play with. And like, as soon as that game came out, I went out and bought it, came home, and was playing the shit out of that game. It was great. And around that time was when I first met Steve. And Steve is like a fighting game savant. So like, he pretty much took me under his wing and showed me the fundamentals of playing a fighting game. Like, because before I met him, I was a masher. I would just like press any button I could and figure out moves and just do moves whenever I could. And that was it. But he was like the one that taught me like how to counter things, like when people were jumping in on you, or how to cross up people and zoning people and what zoning even means and stuff like that. So yeah, so I got Juri and played with her. I learned like all of her stuff, and like I am very happy to hear that she is going to be added to the Street Fighter 5 roster as a DLC character. And that's one of the reasons why I got Street Fighter 5, even though it was incomplete, was because I'm just going to play as much as I can to build up as much fight money as I can. So when she comes out, hopefully I have enough money to get her. And if I don't, then I'm just going to flat out pay real money and get her and call it a day because I need to play with Juri, okay? Right now I'm playing with Laura, and I love Laura too. I think I like her character design. I like the way she handles, but I'm pretty sure that when Juri comes out, unless they did some drastic changes to her, I'm going to switch over to Juri because Juri is just my main. She's my top Street Fighter character of all time. But anyway, like I was saying, with Super Street Fighter 4, I went in hard, dude, okay? I had a fight pad. I had a fight stick. I took the ball top off of the fight stick and replaced it with a bat top. I went to tournaments. I went to Evo. I went to local tournaments around Arizona. Like, I was deep, man. I was trying to learn combos, but I don't know how to do combos. To this day, I still suck at them, but I still did it. Now, when I say I went to the tournaments, I didn't win in any of them. Like, I sucked. I think the only match that I won was because somebody like failed to show up when it was their turn to come and play me. But either way, like, I still had fun. I enjoyed it. You know, I was updating the game. I made a profile on Shoryuken.com, like looking up tips and tricks and, you know, what's new and who was buffed and who was nerfed and all this other stuff. And, you know, and I did that for years. And then eventually it just came down to a point where I just didn't want to play anymore. You know, like shortly after the arcade edition, I was just like tired and didn't want to keep up with the game anymore. I didn't want to keep up with the updates and, you know, and characters, you know, people giving me shit for using certain characters. They're like, oh, you're a tier whore, you know, or that character sucks. They're like the lowest tier character. Why are you using that? And I was just like, all right, well, it was a fun ride, but I guess I'm done. But, so anyway, ended up doing that. And I just, you know, so I missed out on Ultra Street Fighter 4. And that was when I got into my whole mode where I was like, I don't give a shit about Street Fighter anymore. Like, let me know when Rival Schools comes out or the next Soul Calibur, you know. But lo and behold, man, like Street Fighter 5, I got it. Like I said, I'm playing it. I can't wait for Jury to come out. As for Delson, probably trying to figure out what he has to do in any of this. So basically, when they announced that Street Fighter 5 was going to be exclusive to the PS4, I figured that they would put in another PlayStation character like they did with Street Fighter X Tekken when they put Cole in there and those two cats. Forgot their names, but Totoro or whatever their names were. But I was like, that'd be cool if they put Delson Rowe in there from Infamous Second Son, you know, keeping that tradition with like the Infamous characters. Because, you know, it doesn't get any more street than Delson, okay? And I'm not joking around either. I actually like Delson way more than I like Cole. And, I mean, they could have did the safe route where you just give him, like, his 4 different elemental powers as a move set. But they could have even just made him, like, a little mimic character, you know, like where every time he starts a match, he just has a different fight style, you know, since that is his power, is taking other people's, like, powers and everything. So that was why I put him in there. But lo and behold, they didn't put him in. I don't know why, but there's always DLC, I guess. But at that point, it's just kind of too late. But I mean, you know, it'd still be cool to put him in there. So this drawing was actually the last, like, I started drawing this back in 2015. So, like, when you look at the bottom, or if you can see the bottom, it's going to say 2015/2016. Because I like to put when I start a piece and when I finish it, you know. So yeah, so I figured, you know, this was what I was working on, you know, as I went into my unexpected hiatus. So I figured it'd be good to just start the new year off with finishing this up. And I think it turned out pretty well, considering that this is the first time I've ever drawn Jury. As much as I like her, I'm afraid to draw people that I like, you know. That's why I don't have a shitload of Spider-Man pictures. But, you know, maybe we can change that, because I actually did enjoy drawing her. And, you know, like I said, she's awesome. Maybe the next one, maybe sometime I'll draw her and Laura, because I love Laura too. There's very, very good character designs they have there. But anyway, that's going to be about it. Sorry for the hiatus, you know. The only excuse I can give you is that, like I said earlier, life is a bitch, you know. And, it just sometimes just get overwhelmed with stuff and got to make sacrifices. But I'm back. All right, I'm back. But I will say that I will do things differently this time. So, like, don't expect a new bad art every single week like I did last year. But I would say expect at least, like, maybe, I want to say at the most 2 bad arts a month. Because I do want to, like, start getting a lot more detail into the drawings. Like, right now I just kind of, like, draw them out, color them, you know, draw them out, ink them, color them, you know, and do my best to put a little bit of definition into them and give them a little bit of shape and make them pop a little bit. But I want to get a little bit more fancy this year with the colors and try and make some things and play around with some lighting and stuff like that. But we'll see how it goes. But until then, I will see you guys on the next one. That was bad, but it could have been worse. And I'm out.